So what we're looking at here is the inside of the starter motor, and taking it out was real simple. It's just two 12mm bolts at the back and just pull the starter motor out, and then you undo the two long screws. You'll see how I put it back together in this clip to pretty much gather how I pulled it apart. So first of all, when I took this out, I checked to make sure that the field coils were nice and clean in here, and that the amateur connections were all good, so there was no problems there. That was all nice and clean. I was surprised that this was clean. A lot of time when you pull them out, this is all full of dirt. So this was real nice, clean starter motor. Unfortunately, the brushes had worn down and damaged the commutator. So you'll see in the clip, I've cleaned it up as much as I can. I ran a very small blade screwdriver through the gaps here just to make sure that there was no brass connecting here, and then I went over it with masonry sandpaper just to clean it all up a bit. But as you can see, it's all pretty clean as it is, so there wasn't a lot of work here, just basically this area. You can see the damage is already done. The dark areas is where the damage has made the tracks really deep. So the brushes are going to work at first, but as time goes on, they'll take shape and they'll get a better contact. So it should only take a couple of weeks before they get 100% contact. So what you can see me doing here is I'm just sanding down the sides of the brushes a bit, because these new brushes that arrived, they were sticking when you put them in. They wouldn't slide back out, they'd just get stuck. So I had to just sand them down a little bit to make sure that when you push them in, that they slide comfortably in and out, and that they wouldn't get stuck, because that would result in a bad starter motor. Like you'd try to start and nothing would happen because the brushes stopped making contact. So that's all I had to do at this point here. So all the brushes were okay, but you can see this one in particular, it was too big to fit in there, so I had to sand it down. But you can see what I mean here, that if it's not going in and out smoothly, it just gets stuck in, and it's going to be a bad contact for the starter motor. So I had to keep on working at that one to make sure that it would slide in and out smoothly and not just get stuck in there like that. A little trick I like to do is to put electrical tape around the brushes to hold them in place, so when reinstalling that the brushes aren't in your way. What I wasn't contemplating on is that the electrical tape in the Philippines, it's tagged 3M, but I think it's just a Chinese ripoff, because it didn't have as much stability as what I'm used to with the electrical tape I use in Australia. This electrical tape would, if you weren't quick enough, it would slowly stretch the electrical tape and the brushes would be in your way again. So I had to work fast with it, but the trick still worked, just not as effective as would it have been if I was using the electrical tape in Australia. When installing the brushes, there is only one way to put them back on. So you'll see on the side there's a little notch. I'll get there it is. So there's a little notch there that shows you that's the way the brushes go, so you can't get them wrong. You can't put them in backwards or upside down or whatever. They can only go in one way. Just look out for that little mark. And you can see here, as I slide the shaft back through, that the brushes are already pushing past the electrical tape. So I did have to work them past it just a little bit. Not as bad as having all the brushes out and trying to work them in, but still, it did make it a little bit tricky because the electrical tape was giving way, starting to stretch a little bit. But only a bit of fiddling around and I was able to get it past, and no worries. And then we'll take once it's in place, putting the bottom back together there just to stop that shaft from sliding forwards and backwards. And then once it's in place, you just remove the electrical tape and the brushes go against the commutator quite fine, and you can put the rest of the starter motor back together. There is another thing to be mindful of here. On the front housing of that starter motor, there's an O-ring washer. Make sure that that's in place properly and not a little bit slantwise. I failed to look at that when I first put it back together, and when I put the starter motor back in, I was unsure about it, so I ended up doing this twice. I just wanted to pull the starter motor back out, make sure the O-ring was in properly. It was, just because I didn't check it the first time, I pulled it apart a second time just to make sure it was all good, so we put it back in. So you can see that I'm just putting the starter motor back together here, just lining it up. and just trying to work out the power connection there of how the starter motor would sit back in before putting these screws back in, because you didn't want to put that power connection on the wrong side. So you just got to be mindful of that too, that when you're putting these screws back in, that the starter motor is ready to bolt back in with the power connector facing the correct way, and it's pretty smooth sailing from here. Another thing as well, when you're putting these screws in, you tighten them up to a tight torque. You don't overdo it. If you pull it too tight together, then the starter motor struggles to turn because you've tightened them up too much. It's kind of like tight is tight, you know. You can feel it by hand. When you get to a point where it's tight, that's as far as you want to go. You don't want to go and tighten it up as hard as you can, because that just makes the starter motor harder to turn. And I'm just making sure that, yeah, that's how it's going to go in. That's where the power connection is going to be before I finish tightening up these screws. And then that's it. Just give them a nice touch up. Don't overdo it. And then put the starter motor back in. And I can go on side by side there just to make sure that it tightens in evenly. And that's it. You can see how I'm tightening up there, not over tight, just that's it, and we're ready to go. So now I just put the starter motor back in just to have another look there once it's in place. I was happy with the power connection where it was, so go ahead and bolt it down and connect up the power cords. So while I was bolting this back down, I noticed that the clutch cable was loose as well. So after bolting these down, I gave the clutch cable, I tightened up the clutch cable as well. Then now it's all in place, just putting this power cord on now. One thing to be noted as well, when you first use a starter motor with new brushes, you're going to see a little bit of smoke coming out. That's the heat generating from the new brushes. They're not worn in yet. They're going to get hot inside, and a bit of smoke's going to come off, plus the grease from my fingers are on those brushes as well. There's going to be smoke from that, so don't stress it when you get a starter and you see a bit of smoke come from the starter motor, because that's just normal. That's the brushes working their way back in. And the first start didn't work either. Had to give it a couple of goes, but once, I think it was after the third or fourth go, and the brush was wearing in a little bit, then the bike started quite normal. I also swapped out the battery and the solenoid with brand new ones, but if you want to test the starter motor to see if it's a solenoid that's a problem, you just put a screwdriver across the solenoid like this and crank it over. And if you get nothing, then the starter motor is buggered. But if you get something, like the starter motor starts cranking over, then it's a solenoid that needs replacing. I replaced the battery, solenoid, and repaired the starter motor all at once, so everything was done fresh and everything's going to work perfect. That's a tricycle there, all finished. I also did a bunch of wiring on it. All the wires were twisted together, so I've cut wires and resoldered wires and so forth. Fixed up all the indicators, the headlight. I put some neon lights underneath it to match the green light inside, so it all looks nice and dressed up. I got the blinkers, or what I call them over there, the signal lights. And I also put bigger horns on, so now he's got two horns, so you can switch over from normal horn to big horns. Indicators are working, headlights working properly, the headlights LED. So now she's all finished up and happy days. Enjoy riding. Yeah, we did notice that one of the eagle eyes wasn't working. We thought the wiring might have been behind the headlight there, but it wasn't. It just happened to be, came loose where the connection is. So it's just a matter of reconnecting that back up. So that was fixed up that day. That's why the bike is there right now, so we can fix that eagle eye up. But everything else is working. You can see that also in the far left there. One of those fog lights is actually blinking. There's an eagle eye in there as well to act as an indicator as well. And yeah, happy days. So you'll hear the bike now. You'll hear the two horns, and we're finished. Little horn.